Okay, so here we've got a pretty low game. 1,000, I believe, is the SR of the Ana that we're watching. So we're going to take a look at this and see what we can do to help. Usually there's big sweeping improvements we can find in these situations, but we'll find out. Maybe this will be the exception and this Ana will be perfect and they've actually found Elo Hell. Hint, that won't be what happens.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload. It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Didn't need to walk in front of your diva there. Your diva is still your shield. Even though she was trapped, you want to heal her from behind. Nade's late. Don't triple peek that widow like that. Yeah. Okay. If you were going to peek, you had to put a shot into the widow to check her, but also you just repeatedly peeked the same sight line at the same height. You didn't like peek it, then 2 seconds later peek it crouched, then 1 second later peek it again. Like you've got to vary your timing and preferably your height, how you come out there, and not jumping, but crouching or not crouching can help. But you also don't want to triple peek angles like that. Like you give them another chance to set up holding your angle, etc. Not the end of the world though. She's distracted. Your Ashe is in front of you, and she's going to probably prioritize shooting at her, etc. But even so, be mindful of how you're peeking corners when playing against a sniper. Okay. Widow's very aware of you. And you're just hoping that she can't hit you when you're out there like that. This is much better positioning because now you can heal your Ashe. You can heal your people out there while they do work, and you actually also have line of sight on the enemies if you want to slip a nade in that direction. You can also use your sleep dart offensively here because it's going to be really hard for them to push you. No, don't run back out here. You don't need to be out here at all. And their widow did not die. It's not your job to snipe out the widow, especially when she's looking at you. If you were to peek to challenge the widow, you'd have wanted to peek while your Ashe was over to the left, because your widow is going to be more likely to looking over to her right, which was directly in front of you, and then maybe you peek and put a little pressure on her, throw a shot at her, because she's likely looking at your Ashe, not looking at your angle. But you don't want to come out here when your Ashe has taken the same angle that you're now taking if you step out. I hope that makes sense. Let's actually pull up Epic Pen here because I'm feeling the lack of drawing. Maybe. Is Epic Pen mad that I haven't? Okay, here we go. So what I mean by that is when your Ashe is over here, the widow who's mostly been up here is more likely to be looking with her eyeballs, with her screen in that direction, because Ashe is the threat to her, etc. I'm aware that the widow's over here, but we're talking about a second ago. If you come out and peek over here, when your Ashe is here, and the widow's here, or even if the widow is here, the same sight line puts both you and Ashe, she gets to be aware of both of you. Whereas if you peek when your Ashe is over here and you're over here, she can look this way, she can look this way. She can't look this way and this way at the same time. Her screen doesn't work like that, especially when she's zoomed. I hope that makes sense. Let's go back to, it's gonna do that, boom, and your F7 it looks like. F6? Oh, I'm so bad at this. There we go. You don't need to be out here like this. See, when you were back a step like that, you could heal your team just as well. And you can just step up a step to try and lob a grenade over them, to try and lob a grenade to the right of that shield, maybe to this Lucio if he comes out. You can peek and go shoot at him, but you never need to go deeper than this, and you just come out when you want to take offensive shots. You don't need to be this deep. In fact, being this deep is making your angle harder to get your heals and your allies across the way there. And you don't need to waste time shooting at shields. Come on. Look for shots around the shield. You're not going to be breaking shields anytime soon as Ana. You should be okay.
Get here.
I don't think I've seen an offensive nade yet. Not really a good sleep target, but we'll live. Good nade. Good nade. Now nano your Sigma. Yep. That nano did need to come out earlier. You wanted your Sigma to be able to take advantage of the giant purple that you got, etc. And the nano would have healed him back up, so he would have stopped absorbing with his arm there, and he would have gone back to shooting. He kept absorbing for so long because he felt threatened. If you give him a nano, he's not going to feel threatened anymore.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Why are you... Okay, fine.
Last time.
Okay, but why are you here?
Ellen.
Yeah, like, you're on your front line. You are very much on your front line. I understand you wanted that Junkrat kill, but you have a sniper rifle. You could have killed that Junkrat from much further away, and you also could have killed that Junkrat from a place where you're not in danger of what's exactly going to happening. So if you're here and fighting a Junkrat, your only cover is this, and it's real easy for this Roadhog to peek around here and get you. And even if you didn't know, oh, it's a Roadhog specifically here, you know that this isn't terribly safe positioning. Like, yes, you can do things like push forward to close the angle, but you're not going to push up into a Junkrat. And in general, you're Ana. You don't want to be in front unless you're super worried. Well, you don't ever want to be in front of your team, but you don't even need to be tight with your team unless you're worried about the other team running lots of divers to get in deep at you. Do I see any divers here? That's not a diver. That's not a diver. This is the closest thing to a diver. And Lucio harassing the backline isn't all that common of a thing, and it's not something that you need to play super close to your team to avoid. So instead, you would be better off having stayed here, where you've got cover available, here, where you've got cover available. Both of those would have had decent shots. This one less so, but this one definitely plenty of the same shots on that Junkrat. If you feel you need to come out a little more into the open because, oh, you don't want like how the nade's going to bounce around in there, okay, you go out to here where you've got lots of space, but you're still a little further away. You've still got your Sigma between you and the Roadhog, etc. And again, it doesn't matter that it's a Roadhog specifically, though you should be aware, hey, Roadhog hook, etc. It's the threats that are going to come from this side of this newsstand as opposed to the threat that's already here of Junkrat. And boom, boom. Heal him up. You can scope, man. You don't need to... Why are you doing projectiles at this range? There you go. Peek your Ashe. She'll give you a window. Okay, if she's not going to give it to you, swap targets. You were positioned better for that fight. Hit your sleep. Good. You were a little late to reach for it, but good idea. Why are you in front of your team? Let your Sigma go first. Yeah, play to the left here. Okay, fine.
Escorting the payload. You're going to be okay.
Where's your ability usage? Can you sleep that May? Good. Good! I don't think you could afford that reload. I think you had to heal your D.Va first. Did you not have shots left?
You're going to be okay.
No, you didn't have shots left. No, you did have shots left. Yeah.
This will help.
You have 9 shots left. You have 3/4 of your clip left. Yeah, your D.Va, you're denying your D.Va basically the whole length of your reloads time of healing her. You're keeping her out of the fight. She does not get to contribute, and she's probably going to lose her mech because you reloaded here. Okay. Even though she didn't lose her mech, it doesn't matter because there's other people who could be using your help, and she could be deeper. She could potentially be chasing out that Junkrat if she'd had 2 more shots than her by now, etc. Nade. Look for a nade here. You don't have it yet, but you're gonna... Okay, so if you're sliding around at a super wide angle there where your team is no longer between you and the enemies and you're kind of close to the enemies, the reason to do that is because you're looking for an offensive ability, usually a nade, sometimes a sleep dart, that you want to hit them at an angle where their shield isn't blocking that angle because they're paying attention to your core, which is over in this direction. So I actually was totally fine with that swing out, though I'd have waited another second because when you got there, you still had about 3 seconds or 2 seconds left before your nade was up. And then you just hurl a nade in there, and then you go right back to where you were before, unless your team immediately goes in. If your team immediately goes in, well, now they're between you and the enemy in your new position again. If they don't go in, you're just swinging back left, and you're sort of behind and protected by your team again, but you hit a fat purple nade that is the difference maker. That's how you carry on Ana in general. If you can't just make your team work, generally the way to carry is to hit good fat offensive nades. Not that you have to carry, but that would have just been good contribution in general there. Okay, you didn't use nano. Ideally, we'd have gone. Okay, now it's just gone. That's fine. So we could get into ult tracking and stuff, but this is bronze, so I'm just going to say you have nano and you've had nano for a bit here, so because you've had nano for a bit, think about, okay, I've got to get this nano used pretty early into this next fight. And valid nano targets for you in this setup are probably not great. Tracer and D.Va probably.
You're not getting rid of me that easily.
Maybe take Tracer off the nano list after that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. So, you don't really need to go in there like that to be working on him. You really do not do very much damage to him, and you opened yourself up to being threatened by him when you could have stayed where you were. He would have had no sightlines on you, but you'd have still had sightlines on your allies to heal them, which would have really been better in this situation. You're winning this fight right now, but you're not hugely winning this fight. So don't give them an opportunity to get back into a fight that you're winning by exposing yourself to unnecessary risk. Sometimes you have to expose yourself to risk in an even fight to get ahead, or in a fight that you're behind to try and get back into it. But if you're up in a fight, you generally don't want to expose yourself to risk. It gives them a chance to make normal plays, like turn and shoot you with a left click to get back into the fight. And you don't want that. You want to make it so that if they're going to get back into a fight that they're behind in, they need to make risky or extraordinary plays. Zoom, yeah. Pick one. Pick one fight to contribute to. Or pick positioning where you can contribute to both without being threatened by both. Yeah. Should have gone for the scope for the first shot, but that's fine. Good instinct to try and sleep that. Don't chase the hog. Don't chase the hog! Okay, you can't be pushed back in here. Both of your abilities are on cooldown. So your I'm close to the fight contribution is totally over now. You should not get any closer to the fight than this, period. Until you've got at least a cooldown back that you'd maybe use.
Take your medicine.
Okay, you can take your shots here. Don't walk closer! Don't walk closer! Yeah. See, their team is Reaper, Junkrat. Like, their tanks can poke, but their DPS, you know, they're not going to kill you if you're playing at mid to long range, or without being super obvious about coming in which case you're going to sleep them or poke them before they get there. Go this way, and you're going to pretty much immediately look for a nade. Get a nade in there. Okay. I can live with that nade. But you didn't need to drop. You could have actually just stayed up there. If you stay up there, they have to go... Actually, let's go like this. If you'd stayed up there, you'd have some pretty cool advantages. And what those are going to be is your team was here, so these enemies have to be aware of your team over here. If you then play from up here, you can heal your team. You can shoot at the enemy. You could have dropped your nade on the enemy, instead dropped it on your team. That's fine. If the enemies start turning and shooting at you, they have to look at your direction, which is not looking in the direction of your team. And you can just back up on the high ground, and they can't get you without going around or without going here, etc. And if they do that, you'll have to kite them a little through here, get the health pack, etc. But by being here, you separate where they have to look, but you still had a great angle to heal your team. Yes, if they come push you, or if they start shooting at you, you might have to back up, but they're not shooting at your team while they're shooting at you. And if you get multiple to look at you, that's a win on your part, etc. This is very messy drawing, way too much there, but that's what you want to think about. By jumping in and joining the team like this, you made it so that basically more of your team was in one place, which meant they could all just shoot at that one place. So throw halts in here, throw hog right clicks in here. These are going to get value. You don't want to make that the case. You want to make it so that they go, okay, well, if we throw our halt over here, maybe we can get Ana, and we're all looking ready to follow up on the halt, and now we're not looking at this team, and our team does something back to them, etc. And but she got back up here and then dropped again. No need to drop. Now you can nade him. Okay. Okay, good try. Yep. Pocketing the Tracer pocketing anyone who gets stuck in a trap like that, generally a good idea. Still got this nano, I'm going to point out, though. You've had this nano for a long time. Long time. And you even got an upgrade in the tank line where, during this time you got a Reinhardt, and Reinhardt is a better nano target than the options you had before. Even if you're not hitting a great nano, down here in bronze, use your ult. Like, if you're in a fight and you can tell that the fight is actually happening and you're not behind by 2 people, so like if they've got 2 kills and you've got 0, it's probably too late to use your nano. But at this level, if you're in a fight and a fight is happening, period, just go ahead and use your nano. It's better to be using it than to sit on it forever. By a lot. We can start cleaning up nano usage after your nanos are going out, seeing use, etc.
Stop the payload.
Let's get to it already.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Gonna go to the left. I'm okay if you stay over here to the left. It's not as good as being to the right here, but... Okay. So what you're thinking is you can heal your team from here, which is good, or you can peek through that doorway for a second to drop a nade into the enemy team as they're advancing. And then you back right off to about here-ish, maybe a little to the right of here. You don't need to be up here. There's no need for you to be up here.
Attackers incoming. Please move behind the
Oh, and if you're up here, please stay behind your right shield. Good. Keep the shield between you and the enemies. don't know their full composition yet. For all you know, a Widow's going to peek out of the side door and kill you any second, or a Mercy boosted Ashe, etc. You don't have the shield between you and the places threats could be. And you don't insta-kill people. If you're going to shoot like this, be tucked behind the shield. Okay, play here. This is better. Too low probability. I understand what you're going for, but that nade is too low probability, and it's not like, oh, I won't need it for the next 10 seconds. As you can already see, your Ashe is half health, your Mercy is in trouble. If you hit your Mercy with the nade, you'd also get the Tracer. Not that I'd necessarily go for that nade. I'd heal the Mercy, but you have a bunch of enemies that are about to round the corner in the next second that you could get the nade through the crack right past their Rein shield as he walks forward and hit a big fat nade. That would be much better. That nade you did was too low priority, and it was too low priority at a time when your nade is useful right now and will be even more useful in another second.
Feeling sleepy? Stand by me. This will only hurt you.
Cap. Nade was too early, but I don't think it makes sense to go over it yet. It's just mechanical, I can live with this. Nade, good. Okay, just go die on cart. The reason I want you to die on cart rather than try to sort of back out or kite a little bit is you are going to die. There is absolutely no chance you're getting out. And if you're on the cart, at least you stall it for an instant and then activate its contested even after you're dead for another moment or two there. Whereas if you're backing up, you're actually staggering yourself if you partially get out because you were never getting fully out in that situation.
You're going to be okay.
This is good. You can play this high ground. It's more dangerous than it was last round because this round the opposing team is running a Tracer and he's not ignoring you. Okay, we will talk about it. So you do use nades when you're fighting Tracers. You do use nade to defend yourself pretty frequently. You don't throw it out at a Tracer that's away like that. He is going to dodge it. He sees it's coming. It's slower than your shot. So what you're going to do is when he's coming in for the kill, so effectively when you get at like 50 health like this, or even a little more health than that, but not like 100 health, but when you're down to like 50 health, 75 health, that's when you're looking to nade yourself and the direction that he's in. So you splash it a little bit in front of you, or you 180 and splash it a little bit in front of you, so that it gets you and it gets him when he's coming in to try to get the kill, because he does more damage when he's closer because his weapon does have some spread to it and some fall off, though not much fall off these days. And also Tracers will frequently empty their clip into you at close range and then try and finish you with a melee, etc. So if you're down in that like 75 to 50 health range, he wants to come in and finish you, so that's when you're most likely to catch him with a nade, and that's why you don't really want to self nade before then, because you would like to get the extra value of also hurting him with the nade. So yeah, don't throw the nade at him when he's far away unless the nade is also doing something else where it's going to like help your teammate, or it's also going to get another opponent, etc. Because he's just going to blink away from a nade 9 times out of 10. But are we getting nano? We nanoed! You shoot nade. Tires are hard. They're fast, I know, but you could have tried to shoot and then nade that, and even if you miss, I have no qualms whatsoever. But even if you miss the shot, Hopefully you at least tag it with the nade, and then someone else also tags it, and it gets destroyed. You can hope. That's the best you can do.
أنا هاخد بالي منك.
It's okay. Look around. Yep. Yep. You took that tracer fight correctly. You messed up everything mechanically, but you tried for the sleep dart, you tucked on the corner so that he had to come around, and then you tried to nade yourself and hopefully him at about the right health.
dying on my. I heard you.
Maybe we go back to Anna? Are we doing BAP? We're doing Briggs. Okay. So Briggs changed pretty significantly as a hero about when I stopped seriously coaching, and I'm just coming back to this, so I may be a little rusty on this, but it's bronze, so there's plenty I'll be able to say. Okay. Yeah.
Payload is approaching its
That wasn't the
destination.
plan.
No, that was not the plan. Are you gonna... You can at least shield bash for distance here. Like, shield bash's cooldown is not very long, and it doesn't move you very fast, but even a quick shield bash will get you across distance a little faster than just walking will, and you would definitely have had it back if you'd used one, maybe even two shield bashes on the way to the fight here. Good, you got your swing off. Play the corner a bit. Yeah. So you didn't get your... you really didn't get health packs out there, which is a bit disappointing because Winston certainly could have used them. Are you going to bash this time for distance? No. Okay, so mostly an Ana game. There's lots of things we can talk about. I picked out lots of things, but you're in bronze because you've got bronze positioning. That's going to be the most simple way of saying it. There's other things. Sure, you could have better aim. That wouldn't hurt. Sure, you could learn better how to take that tracer duel. You did it better the other time we talked about it, but you had a few nades that you threw that were just like, here, these are nades that are very low probability, like against the tracer, like against the guy who was up on the high ground on first. A couple of those we could all get into, but really it's going to be about positioning. You don't want to be in places where Roadhog can just turn and kill you, like we saw back there on first at the newsstand, like we saw when your cart was just a little bit into second and the Roadhog was running away, but there's still no reason he can't turn and kill you in a fight that you're up in. So, if you're winning a fight, don't expose yourself to unnecessary threat. Be stability, provide things for your team, etc. And you do that by being in positions where you have a good sightline on your team, but the enemy doesn't have a good sightline on you. If the enemy is running divers like Tracer, like Hammond, etc., you can move in and play a little closer to your team, but you still keep line of sights in mind where it's harder for the enemies to shoot at you because there's a wall between you and them, and you open that angle specifically when you want to take a shot or when you want to nade them, etc. When you're not specifically shooting at the enemy, you close that angle and can still see members of your team, etc., etc. Or at the very least, you've got your team between you and the enemy. Even if the enemy has a sight line on you, your team, your tanks are between you and the enemy, and their bodies are physically in the way, though that's less good than actual cover being in the way. If you do that, you'll shoot right up out of bronze. Anyway, I hope that helps. If you have additional questions, you can reach out to me, YouTube, Discord, or Twitter, and we can set up a private coaching session. That's what I've got. Temporal out.